My kids and I all started just recognizing when there was math around, like, oh, this would be a good image, or this would be a good video, or something. And so we started taking a ton of pictures.
Right? Our poor kids have to see, like, I feel you on this. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Educators Mathcast. I am here with my colleague and friend, Mike Flynn, again, and we are going to be talking about summer mathy stuff. We are in the thick of the summer, and Mike and I were thinking about some things we could share with you all to kind of keep you inspired and keep thinking about math this summer. Mike, set us up for what we're going to do in this conversation today.
All right, Zach, so you know you've been out with me in public enough, and you're as guilty as I am of this, that we can't help but find math in the wild, right? So we're often taking pictures at grocery stores or at a conference center or just on our way to dinner somewhere. Like, it's just, we recognize there's math all around us, and there's really great ways to bring some of that math into our classrooms or to our professional learning spaces, et cetera. So we just got back from Ireland, as you know, and one of the things that was like, my kids and I all started just recognizing when there was math around, like, oh, this would be a good image, or this would be a good video, or something. And so we started taking a ton of pictures.
Right, Mike? Our poor kids have to see, like, I feel you on this. Go ahead.
They used to get, I mean, what's great when kids get out of the teenage, now that I have adult children now, plus a little one, but it's, they're no longer as embarrassed. Actually, they've drank the Kool-Aid, so to speak. So they're actually also looking for that. They roll their eyes a little bit still, who we kid. But it made me kind of think of, like, that there are just so many opportunities when we're out and about, whether we're traveling overseas or just going down to the local beach or something, or to the lake, whatever it is, that there's just so many really cool mathy things that we could share with one another. We could bring in, whether it's bringing it to our classroom with our students, or using it in a session we're doing with teachers, or just sharing in an online community and stuff. And so that just got me on my wheels turning around, like, this idea of, like, what I call mathcation, sort of like, while you're on vacation, what sort of mathy things can you bring back and share? Because it used to be, like, when I was a kid, like, if you went away or did anything, like, the expectation is you'd bring some things back, like a souvenir or something, not to give to the class, but to share. You do a little show and tell kind of thing. And there's something fun about this, where we could share a little bit about our journeys, but not like those boring ways where we're clicking through slide after slide of our family, but it's like it's actually where we can kind of see a different part of the world or a different part of a state or town through a math lens. And so anyway, I messaged you about that, and I thought this would be a real cool thing to talk about here and to see on the podcast for those that are actually going to check it out on the YouTube channel. I thought we could share some of the things, because you also had a recent vacation, and get the ball rolling. Plus, it's still summertime for us and for teachers. So maybe we encourage other people to try to do the same thing and share some of their mathcation photos with us as well.
I love it, Mike. This is so important. And I just have to acknowledge that one of the things that I think is so valuable about this is when we show up in our classrooms as human beings, and we share, not in the click through 500 slides kind of way, but when we share things that we did, it humanizes us to the young people in the room. It allows for a deeper connection. So particularly coming back into the new school year, sharing some of this and sharing it in a way, as you said, that's like centered around math or mathy things, I think is a really cool way to connect with the young people. And as Mike said, if you are listening right now on your favorite podcast app, you might want to flip over to the YouTube version of this, because we are going to show some pictures. We'll do our best to describe what we're seeing, but it might be fun for you to see these images. And we will link all the images in the show notes, so you can take a look at those if you want to dive deeper. But let's go, Mike. Let's see some mathcation stuff.
Okay, so, and right out of the gate, so obviously, like, sometimes the mathcation photos are going to be ones that you bring right in your classroom, and some are maybe more for grown-ups, right? So we in Ireland,
grown-up math photos.
Oh, grown-up math, right? The Guinness factory, right? You can't be in Dublin and not check out the Guinness factory. We drank, that's one math problem is that how much Guinness did we all consume while we're there? But anyway, the Guinness factory it was really cool. There was so much math. I took a ton of photos. I won't share all of them here, but one of the things that was really neat is there was a spot that looked like it was like straight out of Willy Wonka. The room was completely white, like it was like that Mike TV walking into that, and they had these Ford, like, I don't know, they were not cauldron kind of things, but there was like steam coming out, and you could smell the ingredients that were the four main ingredients in Guinness. And while we're all doing that, there's a bunch of taps. So I'll share this image right now where you can see, for those that don't actually watch the video here, is you'll see on one side of the slide here is a bunch of Guinness taps and people pouring in these sample size glasses, and they're all on these little trays. And then the other image, of course, is a top down view of those little glasses of Guinness. And so a couple things here is, one, when I saw this, any arrangement like this just reminds me of Number Talk images, like these things of where you could just ask, how many do you see? And it's a really easy question to ask. I mean, technically, if you could use the Guinness one with students and stuff, but the whole backstory and stuff gets a little bit more, probably not as appropriate for the classroom. But anyway, like, so Zach, just curious right now, just looking at that plate of glasses, how many do you see?
So I have to say, Mike, we really missed an opportunity here to not cheers a Guinness to each other right now on the pod. That would have been next level.
Right?
We really should have done this. But anyway, we did not.
It's too hot for Guinness today.
It's true story. It's the summer. Nobody wants a meal while they drink. So if I look at the side view of them, it's what I see in this task is a great sort of like first estimate, because I can't count for sure all of them in that side view. And I'm looking at it thinking, okay, maybe there's like 25 there-ish. I'm just kind of like eyeballing it. And then when I look at the other one over there, my mind wants to count like in circles, count the furthest out perimeter or circumference of this circle here. But there's kind of like one offset over there. It's not perfect. And then there's a second inner circle I see, and then there's like 3 in the middle. So I see 3 in the middle, and then I see 3, 3, 8 in that inner circle, or the second circle. And we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 on the outside. So I'd add 14, 8, and 3, and that would get me to 25. Did I do that math right? That was really quick, Mike. I think I got it. How'd I do?
I'll be honest, I didn't even check. I don't know. I didn't count it. I just took the picture.
Okay, viewers,
That's
tell
the
me
thing.
if I'm
There's
right
a
or
nice
wrong.
thing with Mathcation. Yeah, right. Let's check Zach's work. But this is a nice thing too, is like you don't have to sit there and work through all the math. It's like I always find with Number Talk images, sometimes the first go is I like to just hear, I'm in it as a learner too. And it's interesting that you sort of saw it as circles, because that's how I originally saw it. And then when I looked this second time, I'm kind of noticing it's like a spiral coming out, and it's like, interesting. So then it gets me thinking, like,
I didn't see that at
what
all.
would be a good strategy? Yeah, I didn't see it till you were talking. I'm like, well, where's the circles? And it's like, actually, that's a spiral. So then I'm like, is there a strategy for counting a spiral and stuff? And how does that affect the way we count something? So anyway, this is the nice thing about this, is there's no, with these kind of images, is you're not bound to there's a certain answer, right? It's about discussions. And so think now that we know this is a spiral, would that change the way you count it?
I don't know, Mike, because I feel like the spiral would be hard to count and kind of keep up with. So it'd be like sort of like thinking like 2, 4, 6, 8. Because I'm talking about counting by twos that feels good in this image here. But I feel like my eyes might lose track of that if I don't have like smaller sets, because it feels like it has to be continuous in that spiral. I don't know. What do you think?
You know what, that in the center of the spiral, there's 3. It's like 2 with 1 on top. That's sort of like the start for me. And so I see like chunks of 3. So counting it by 3, it feels easy to see and sort of hit that way. But it's just, again, there's no right or wrong answer here. It's an interesting thing, right? So there's one from my trip, a little bit of the Guinness factory. We'll start off with that. Want to share one of yours?
Yeah, Mike. So let's take a look at the one called Bottles. My family went up to Victoria, British Columbia, which, Mike, the Northwest is wild. I got on a ferry and crossed an international border. It was weird. It only took us about an hour and a half drive to Port Angeles, and well, maybe more, like a little over 2 hours to Port Angeles. Got on a ferry ride that was about an hour and a half long, and we were in Victoria, British Columbia. It was amazing. So we spent 3 days up there to celebrate my wife and colleague, Dr. Claire Riddell. She just defended her dissertation. Big ups to her.
Congrats.
Yeah, massive work. So we were celebrating her up there. And before we got on the ferry, we were still in Port Angeles in Washington. We had a drink. Mine starts with alcohol as well. Thanks. Sorry, team. It's Mathcations. We were having a drink at this bar right before we got on the ferry, and I saw this picture of these bottles, and I just had this moment of like, oh my gosh, look at another great Number Talk image. And it's a little bit messy, just like the maybe the spiral counting of the Guinness there. So, Mike, when you look at these bottles, what do you see? What jumps out? We don't need to count them right now, like that's a different task. But like, what's
Yeah.
interesting about these bottles? What jumps out to you?
So it's funny is like the bottles are the least interesting thing in this picture for me. I shouldn't
Yeah,
say least interesting, but it's not the first thing I'm drawn toward are the sort of the squares and the triangles, like sort of the structure of it,
yeah.
right? I'm interested right now in sort of how many of these squares do I see, right? So and then of course there's like half squares and stuff all around the sides here. So that was the first thing I was like wanting to count and sort of make sense of. And then I'm also kind of interested in like all the little like plants and stuff. But then now but I think starting with that structure, the thing that I would then start to think about is like what, like the triangle pieces, for example. So let's look at the top left, right? That sort of first triangle that we see.
Yep.
Is I'm noticing that there's 6 bottles in that one. And it seems like there's also 6 in the next one, 6 in the next one. So I can start making a conjecture here that all of the half squares or the triangles are going to have 6 bottles in it. So then naturally I'm thinking then the full square ones would have 12 in it. But I can also see that some look like they're missing some pieces, right? So
Yep.
let's actually see. So 7, so there's 15, and
Yeah.
I'm seeing it's 60. There's 18 in one. Like it's all over the place, actually.
It's all over the place, man. There goes your multiplicative reasoning. We're gonna mess that up.
Yeah, that's bothering me.
Hey, you want to get really bothered? Look at the bottom
Yeah.
triangle in the center. It has 6, but it's arranged differently. It's a 4 and a 2 rather than a 3, 2, 1. So the one you pointed out first in the top left has 3, 2, 1, and down there in the bottom it's a 4, 2. Whew.
Yeah, they're messing with us here. But that's also interesting, right? Because this is another place where you could just ask, like Christopher Danielson always will say, is like, how many do you see, right? It's like, if first of all, like we could be talking about different things and there's stuff to count, but also there's like thinking about each of these things almost feels slightly different. But then if I'm looking at it, gosh, it's so hard sometimes because like the one that's on the right, so the first full square on the right, it's like underneath the I don't know what do you call that thermometer there? I forgot the
barometer.
it's an old science thing or barometer. Is that what that? Yes. So underneath there, it feels like there should be 4 rows of or 5. Is it 4 rows of 4? Would that be? Yeah, I guess it would be 4 rows of 4. So it would be 16. It feels like these should each hold 16. Is that right?
Yeah, and there's 2 missing from that one. It looks like maybe.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So it feels like 16. Yeah. What does it look like?
Has to go in there.
Yeah, that's right. So the shelf's taking up some of the spacing. All right. So these would each hold 16. Interesting. Okay. So then now I'm starting to think like now it's making me look at these things a little differently. I might have miscounted one of those ones before. So, but yeah, I mean, there's so much here, Zach, and it's like, it feels like one that we could keep revisiting a little bit. And,
okay, well, let's dive into another one of yours. Let's keep going. Let's maybe go a little quicker with these last few, because we want to show more, because we have big slide decks built. We're not going to get to all of them. We'll maybe put all of them in the show notes so you can see all of our mathy things. But Mike, give us another one. What you got?
Yeah. So one that was also really like cool to see is, so if you look at on slide 7 here, so we're in Kinsale, right? Culinary capital of Ireland, which is beautiful. We did a little historic walk, but Cora was just fascinated by this Kinsale town crest. That was just part of the sidewalk where we were standing. And so of course, I'm not going to shut my math brain off. I'm like, oh, so how many squares do you see is the first question I asked. And so again, this is just another one of those opportunities where there's just ways to like count and see things that just, we don't have to necessarily do another number talk image together with this, but what's interesting or perplexing about this to you that you think would make for some good conversation with students or teachers?
Yeah, I instantly see those rows of six. Seems pretty simple to count, 4 or 5 rows of six down, and then things get tricky when they start cutting off parts. Because like the bottles picture, we saw the triangles were likely half the area of the squares that we saw in there, but this doesn't seem to be like we're obviously getting exact halves here, so it's like harder to kind of count. But perhaps maybe if I look at the two at the bottom where it comes to a point, maybe that one to the left of it would fit and closely get me a full square there, so I could make some approximations.
Mm.
But I'm imagining we're going to need to use some calculus to actually calculate the area of these things. But yeah, this is a fun one, Mike. That when I saw your deck, this one jumped out to me as a really cool image.
Yeah, it's cool. How about another one from you?
Yeah, let's take a look at this tree. So we were in Victoria. We went to this tower that you could walk up, and on the way out, there's like all these cool exhibits here. And this is a cross section of a tree. And what they did that was so neat on there is that's like an interesting timeline on there. So if you look at those little dots, it tells you something about what happened at the time when that tree was that age. So it's showing you how old this tree actually was. And I thought
Oh,
this would be
that's
such
wild.
a fun slow reveal, Mike, of like where we start over there on the outer skirts of like 1969. That was when the first man was on the moon, and maybe you start revealing some more of these. But if you get all the way to the middle in there, take a look at what happened when this tree was born. Look at how old this tree was.
Machu Picchu built.
Isn't that
That's
crazy?
so wild.
I mean,
Yeah.
these trees in the Northwest are massive, and it's just an interesting one to think about. Also, an interesting timeline because I don't think we usually see timelines like that in this sort of slice. So it's just a really cool image. I would
Yeah.
really love to build this into a slow reveal and get kids to make some predictions about what would be happening as you reveal more and more information going from the outer section to the intersection.
What I love about this too is like, because I always think of number talk images as like low hanging fruit for these vacation photos, because there's always groups of things. But like what you're showing here is like, there's just interesting things to talk about. Like this idea of a timeline that we normally just see as this linear thing, but now we're kind of looking at it as concentric circles. And then this, I mean, obviously massive time span here, which is just wild. But like, if we can just go back to my slide deck for a second, I'll just like
Yeah.
another like thing that sort of popped out where it's not, we don't always have to think of these as like stuff to count or stuff that has answers. Like there's some things that I just found that were like interesting. So sometimes it's just like large numbers. So like in the Guinness factory, like it takes 3 million tiny gas bubbles to achieve the super smooth, that mouthfeel, that iconic, like white part of the top, the head of the Guinness. But like, it makes me wonder, like, how do they know that? Like, how would they determine that? Like,
Ooh.
and so some of these things around it's like, how do you know? Which feels like it could be a fun math routine around, like, how do they figure that out, or how do they know, to get kids to wonder how might you measure something like that? It's because sometimes
Right.
there's these like statements that we just see like on it's a display. It's like, oh, okay, that's a cool fact, but like, is that even remotely close, or do they just sort of pick a like, oh, sure, it's like this many million, no one's
Yeah.
going to call us on it? Like, so just curious about that. Anyway, but it's a good opportunity to also just mention that, like, you don't, I think when we see these mathy things from the world to bring into our spaces is like, you don't have to have the answers. It doesn't have to be a problem. It can just be a opportunity to ask questions. And then sometimes I remember Dan Meyer had that website, What Can We Do With This, where people could just upload some of these random pictures and things and let the community say how you might use this in a classroom or something. And people could think, oh, we could use this to launch a task, or this could be a estimation thing, or it's just another way that you can bring things into your classroom or with your colleagues and get more and more ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me show you one more, and then we'll go to where, of course, this conversation was always going to end. We'll end where it was supposed to end. But if you open up the one that's called gas, Mike, my brain kind of broke. As I mentioned to you in the podcast, we took the ferry over with our vehicle, so I was driving my own vehicle, and needed to get some gas. And so I stopped at the Shell, and the first thing I saw was it said the gas was $1.93. And I was like, why is gas so cheap? And I realized very quickly that they don't measure in gallons, buddy. I'm in Canada now, so this is $1.93 a
Uh,
liter. And then, of course, I'm pumping gas and I'm watching it go, and it's telling me how many liters I put in. And I'm in my head, I'm trying to think, like, I don't know, is it like 3 liters in a gallon? Like, what am I actually calculating here? But then I had to remember that the money being shown was also in Canadian dollars and not US dollars. And so I was watching these numbers go, Mike, and my brain was broken. I had no idea how much gas I was getting, how much I was paying. But I took a lot of
That
pictures of this and some videos because I was like, because then there's like over there in the bottom right hand corner on the gas pump itself, it says you can get 3 cents off a liter. Because, like if you get the Shell credit card or whatever, they're going to give you 3 cents off a liter.
yeah.
And I was like, ooh, I wonder if I got a picture of the Shell gas station in America. Is that, I think it's 10 cents off a gallon. And what's that ratio like? Like
Mm.
that felt like a fun middle school problem to go. But I had this moment where all this math was coming out to me. And I was also having a bit of a brain break as to like what I was actually paying because I was very confused.
Movie Inception, right? It's instead of like a dream within a dream, you have like conversion within conversion. It's like,
Totally.
yeah,
Like
you
even if
sort of like, where am I?
Right. Even if I convert liters to gallons, it doesn't help me with how much actually, because then I got to do a conversion from Canadian dollars to US dollars. It was just like, whew, I couldn't figure anything out, but it was a very fun moment. So, Mike, take us to where this was all leading from the get go. Let's do it.
Well, Zach, anywhere we're going to go in the world, there's going to be stairs, right?
Buddy.
And so
True.
I could not help myself. And so if you check out the spiral staircase, so
Yep.
what we're looking at is, so this is Bunratty Castle, and this is a old castle in Ireland. These are spiral stairs that are going down. And of course, I was making a video talking to you about these as I'm going down because I'm seeing some really funky things. And so one of the things that we always have this debate of like, what's a stair, what's not a stair. And I'm really curious in this case, this one that almost looks like an arrow, right? If for those that aren't able to see this, so you normally see the spiral staircase, but imagine one where the edge of that stair that you're stepping on is like juts out to this place where you can like, I don't know if it's like a lookout space or something in the castle or like a murder hole that people look through. But there's like a little arrow there, but it's part of that like step or whatever. Like, so Zach, would you count that? I'm curious in
Oh,
this, like just in this image, how many stairs do you see?
I mean, Mike, this is tough, man. This one is like pushing the boundary of my definition. We've talked about how like I don't think landings are steps or stairs. I think they're different.
Mm-hmm.
But we've also had this conversation about when does something become a landing if it's just slightly bigger? Is it a landing or a step? I know I'm breaking your brain because they're all stairs to you. But in this case, I think I would count this thing as a stair. It doesn't seem to add enough over there to the side in my mind to bring us to what wouldn't count as a stair. So I'm counting as a stair, and I guess I would see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe six and like a little bit more
All
where
right.
above your leg is. Yeah. How about you? What did you
So,
think? I mean,
so
I feel like you're calling it
oh
a
yeah,
stair.
100%. That's yeah, exactly. I just needed you to agree with me. So that's it. Like we could just end the podcast
Podcast
now. We're
done.
good.
No,
Is
I
that
got
no?
to show you one more. I got to show you one more because this one, this is the one that really broke my brain in Victoria. We were getting ready to get back on the ferry. My mathcation was literally almost over, and then the staircase situation just goes kind of haywire. So this image, if you're not watching it, is some concrete stairs. And it splits in the middle where one side I would say has three, Mike would say has four, and on the other side of it there is maybe one, maybe two stairs. And so I'm curious about you, Mike. What are we counting here? What do you count as the stair in this?
So I mean, you know me. I'm going to say there's 4 and 2. There's
Okay, all
4,
right.
and here's why. Right? Is if I blindfolded you and said, "All right, Zach, you're going to walk forward," and I said, followed your rules, is that you're going to go up 3 stairs. Okay, so you're going to count 1, 2, 3, and you're going to fall on your face because there's this other step up that you need to hit.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
right, and so to me that's what I'm counting, and it feels like the yeah, it feels like the other one because there's 2 big steps, so it's like that's
Yeah,
2.
it's
How about
tricky.
you?
That one.
You're still disagreeing? Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I would say to you about, I think the blindfold argument is great. And I think I've shared this on the podcast before, but I did this once with teachers, and a teacher taught at a school for the deaf and blind. And she said, if I tell my blind student our classic example is a 10 or a 9. In this case, if I tell my blind student there's 3 stairs there, they're not gonna make it. However, if we all agree on the definition of a stair, if I tell them there are 3 stairs and a landing, they'll be just fine. But if we don't
Yeah.
have a shared agreement on what this term is, then I think they are likely to think I am talking about taking steps up these things, right? Fun stuff. We are so glad you hung with us on this one, and hopefully you had some fun looking at some images and listening to Mike and I talk about it. Mike, take us out here. Send us off for the summer with some good vibes.
Yeah. So here's our welcome to all of you. So check out the show notes. We're going to upload not just the ones we talked about today, but the ones that we didn't share, and they're available for you. So you want to bring some of those to your students, you're welcome to. Whatever, you're totally your call. And we also want to encourage you to take some mathcation photos when you're out there, and take some pictures to use with your students, with the teachers that you're working with, family, whatever you want to do. Share with us, like hit us up on social media, message us, whatever you want to do. We'd love to see them. I think that's just great opportunities for conversation. It's also great ways to share different parts of the world that we all don't get to see, and bring some of our personal experiences into the spaces where we work with our friends and colleagues. So with that, we hope you have an enjoyable rest of your summer. We can't wait to kick off the school year with you in this upcoming episodes. And I think with that, we're going to say, see you all later.
We'll see you next time. Landings aren't stairs. This show is powered by the Friends of Flint Education Collaborative for pre-K through 8th grade educators with live learning, ready-to-use resources, and a supportive community. Members get early access to the episodes and other bonuses.